Welcome back to the October challenge. Today is day 8 and we are painting pears. If you don't know by now, my name is Maria Cacho and I'm here to give you some tips on watercolor and maybe later on other mediums. I started by doing a very light sketch of a pear. I left 2 other options in the video. You don't have to really copy the drawing I made. Just go wild. And then I just start with a clean water. Why? Because it will create a better blending of the pigments and it will create a more organic, natural looking. That's why I always like to start with a wet on wet technique when I'm doing nature things, fruits, trees, flowers. It just creates a more beautiful, soft edges blending. This is our palette for today. I chose these very beautiful, nice autumn colors. Orange, yellow, ochre, light green, dark green, and at the end you will see a little touch of red. Now, as per usual, when you are doing a watercolor, leave some space for the highlights. I have a tutorial on this subject on day 2 of the October challenge. Make sure to check it out. And I just layering. As you know, I always joke, watercolors are like onions. It's all about layers, which makes sense in the autumn because to dress up in the autumn is also all about cloth layers. I know if you are beginning with watercolors, you might struggle with the water control. It is perfectly normal. Just practice, and you will get there. Now I'm giving it a little bit of a darker green, but a lot of watercolors, when you have the paint wet, they look very strong, and then when they dry, they are a little bit more whitish. This is normal, just take that in consideration. And again, that's why we do a lot of layers. Now, as I always say, patience is a virtue. If you are working with watercolors and you want to start adding some details, you will need to let the drawing dry. But I've noticed something here. I kind of hid my highlights and I wasn't happy. And I was already drying the painting, right? So what I did was with a clean brush with some water, I went over the area of the highlights and I removed some of the paint. If you don't let it dry too much, you can always reactivate the paint with some water, okay? This is very important if you want to correct something, if you want to add some highlights. This is one of the techniques to add some highlights. And I think it looks much better now. And now I will start going for the shadows. The work between shadow and light is what really gives form and this 3D idea to paintings. It's very important. I left the painting still a little bit of wet because I like to keep the transition smooth. Here it was just a preference of mine. I wanted to give a more round shape to the pear. And a little bit more of shadows. So I always like to talk a little bit of color theory. And the reason why I'm adding red is because red is a complementary color of green. And this adds vibrancy to the painting. I put here the image of a color wheel just so you have more or less an idea of what I'm talking about. And complementary colors are used to pop up a painting. Now I'm doing the stem. For the stem, I would say you have to do 3 lines. A white one, a light brown and a dark brown. The light brown and the white are where the light is coming from, the dark brown where the shadow part is, and this already gives a three-dimensional idea to the stem. Don't go for too much perfection. Stems are not straight up right, and I'm adding a little bit more details here as well. Okay, I think the base is done. Now I will just keep adding some details, but I wanted to give you another painting of pears so you can get inspired. I studied art history in college, and over the years other artists really inspired me to do some of my paintings. Cézanne is one of them, and here you have a painting he did, 3 pears. Also a very autumn color style painting, and look how beautiful they are. It's always good when you choose a subject to, why not search other artists' vision on them. I didn't do leaves, although I do like to do them, but I wanted to leave you here what pear leaves look like if you want to add to your drawing. Little bit more of red, as I said, just to make it pop. And I made a mistake. I've been talking about the wet on wet technique since the beginning, and about the transitions between pigments being soft, and in this case I let it dry too much. I added the red. I'm drying over it, and it's going to have a very hard edge, and I don't like that. I don't think it looks natural. So what I did, as I said, I reactivated the paint with some water, blended a little bit more, and that smoothed the transition between the green and the red. See? In my other watercolor tutorials, I speak a little bit about how to correct mistakes in watercolor, so just make sure to check them out. A little bit more drying with my hair dryer. You don't need to be fancy during this part. And of course you could have added a background, you could have added some shadow at the bottom, but I like how the effect on this went. Let me know what you think as well in the comments. Your support is very important. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you tomorrow, day 9 of our challenge. Thank you so much.